And welcome everybody to the Huddle, KGO9's weekly streaming sports talk show. I'm Barr, joined by Pat Parris. Pat, good afternoon. Let's bring in our special guest this week, and it's Arizona women's basketball head coach Becky Burke. Coach Burke, thanks for a minute here. I'm Jason. This is Pat. We're at KGO9 Studios in Tucson. I'm the sports anchor. Pat's the news anchor. Belated welcome to Tucson. We weren't at your news conference. Our coworker Aaron was. So belated welcome, and thanks for joining us here on the Huddle.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Exciting times for you. It's only been, 7 weeks, but I'm sure it seems like a whirlwind. You've added staff, you've added players. Tell us what it's been like.
Oh gosh, fastest but slowest 7 weeks, I think, in my life. But it's a whirlwind. Anytime you take over a program, it's the same experience, but this is a little bit of a different degree. So it's been an incredibly productive 7 weeks, an exciting 7 weeks to build your roster, to build your staff, and to have everything in place right now, to have our players arriving here in about 2.5 weeks is an incredible feeling. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of sleepless nights, but that's what you sign up for when you take over a program and when you accept the challenge of this degree. So it's been amazing. Couldn't ask for anything else. I wouldn't have done anything differently. So just still so super grateful to be here.
Yeah, we'll get to the roster in just a second. But first, one thing I think that a lot of people have tremendous respect for is the journey that took you here. Nothing against somebody becoming an assistant coach at a Power 4 school and going that route. But my goodness, for you to become the head coach of Embry-Riddle, then go to, I believe, a Division II school, then a lower tier D1, and then a mid-major to Arizona. Tell us what that journey was like, and what was it like at age 24 being the head coach of Embry-Riddle up in northern Arizona, I believe.
Yeah, it's quite the journey, and it's exactly how I wanted it. And I, like I just said before, I wouldn't have done anything different in my path and my journey either. It's made me who I am. It's really, really grown me. Every place that I've been has been so special and so important to the success of my growth and my career. Just every place having such a different identity and demanding so many different things from me and throughout my career. Everywhere that I've been and every place that I've had success, and every role that I've had to play everywhere that I've been has made me extremely confident and ready for this opportunity. And, I've sat in a head coach's seat for 10 years now at the age of 35. There's not a lot of people that can say that,
Right.
And so it's something that I think is unique and special. And my journey has not been given to me on a silver spoon, and I never wanted that. And I think that's why I'm going to bring that same mentality here to Arizona is, we're going to get it done by all means necessary, whatever way we have to. No excuses, one foot in front of the other, blue collar mentality. That's just how I've always done it and how I'm going to do it here.
Becky, I always try to ask coaches, which coach they learn from, what you took from here, what you took from there. Certainly being a standout player at Louisville for a number of years and going to the finals and all those, you had to have taken some from your playing days as well.
Yeah, I took a ton from Jeff Walz, and a lot of people say I'm a little mini version of him, which I don't know how to feel about that comment, but he's one of the best to ever do it. He'll be a Hall of Famer. He's incredible. So I think my passion and my desire to become a head coach came from playing under him and in his program for 4 years. Everything I know about building a championship program comes from the way that we did things at Louisville. And obviously along the way, I didn't work for very many people because I started my head coaching career so young. I haven't been an assistant to pick things up from other people, but I'm a sponge. Anybody that I'm around, anybody that I'm near, that I can touch, that can give me some helpful hints or advice or ways to do things. I've been a sponge my entire career. So you always pick up things, and you always put things down that you may not like and pick up the things that you do like from certain people. But I'm a sponge. I know even now, being the head coach at the University of Arizona and taking a job like this, that I still don't know everything, and that's why I surrounded myself with a lot of people that know a lot more than I do. And I'm humble enough to be able to say that. And I think that's going to be crucial in our success.
Coach Burke, a few different times when I've taken a new job, somebody has come up to me and said, "Oh, you've got big shoes to fill." I'm like, okay, fine, great. I'll be okay, right? But your predecessor did take a program that was like 1-15, 2-14 in the conference every year. Nobody went to McKale Center. to be one of the highest attended schools in the country. What is the mess? I'm sure they're going to fall in love with you like they fell in love with Adia. But what's your message to the fan base who may be like, wait, Adia left? Why did that happen? Why did she go to SMU? They maybe don't follow every single day and all the nuances of what's going on. What's your message to the fan base who might be, some of them, I'm sure they're very excited to see you, but some of them might be a little bit upset to see Adia, who chose Arizona twice as a player and a coach and took them to the championship game, no longer there?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, the respect I have for Adia and what she did here as a player and as a coach is tremendous. I mean, to take a program from where it was to what she built it to is a testament to who she is in the program that she created here. I can't really try to think about comparing myself to her or doing it the way that she did it or trying to fill her shoes. And I've never done that anywhere that I've been. I'm going to do it the way that I've always done it everywhere that I've been. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to love on these fans like they've never been loved before. And what I would say to them and like my message to them is give us a chance. Like, give us a chance. Dive into this thing with us, invest, be excited about the future of Arizona women's basketball. It is going to be a product and it is going to be a brand of basketball that they're going to be very, very, very excited about. Does it happen overnight? No, it doesn't. But stay engaged, because it's going to take all of us. It's like a breakup, right? And I'm sure the people at Buffalo are saying the same thing to the new coach, and potentially asking her the same question. It's like a breakup, right? Your girlfriend or boyfriend leaves and you're upset and you don't really know why and why'd you choose somebody else, and it will be okay. I promise you, it will be okay.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. You talked about surrounding yourself with people who know a lot about basketball. I think Julie Haregrove probably fits that bill. I mean, somebody who's a 3-time WNBA champion, assistant coach, and of course a standout player here in Tucson and at the University of Arizona. Why did you, immediately gravitate towards her and add her to your staff?
Yeah. As soon as you get a job like Arizona, you got a lot of long lost best friends that you never had before. And you got a lot of people that really want to work for you and never wanted to work for you before. Right. And so, I wanted to be really strategic. Why, when we're recruiting the best players in the country, and we've got a top 20 kids sitting in our recruiting pitch, right? I wanted to have people around me and people on our staff that they wanted to play for as well, right? And so if I'm a top 20 kid in the country and I want to be a WNBA draft pick, why would I not want to be coached by somebody that coached for 18 years in the WNBA? So that alone, right, along with the fact that she's an alum, so she absolutely understands the intricacies and the ins and the outs of our program and our history of our school and who her family is, and just the appreciation and love for Tucson and love for the University of Arizona. I wanted to be around that every day. I wanted our recruits to see that. And then ultimately, just the cherry on top and the icing on the cake, she's a phenomenal woman. And she's somebody that I know parents will be excited to leave their daughter with, and for her to help them mold them for 4 years. And so that's arguably more important than any of that other stuff, the accolades and the name and all of that. But she's been a rock star. I'm thankful I get to be around her every single day.
I did a story on her a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, I know a lot of people are excited to see her back. Jason Barr, Pat Parris with Becky Burke, Arizona women's basketball head coach. Coach Burke, every week we do a Huddle Poll question. And so since you were our guest, we wanted to give it a little bit of a women's basketball feel. So we'll bring up our Huddle Poll question and let you chime in if you want. I was thinking, what's the biggest rivalry in sports today? And, people say, oh, who's better, LeBron or Jordan? Another one we came up with was the PGA Tour versus Live. But I think I would choose C, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese in the WNBA right now. And of course, locally we have Arizona versus Arizona State. Do you have any opinion on you can choose one if you want, or just how big women's basketball has become in the WNBA, just that this is in the conversation?
I would definitely say Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. I think there's competitive, right? There's competitive rivalries which it just stays between the lines. But I think when you get something like a little Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, it gets a little spicy outside of the lines. And I think that's what people really, really gravitate towards. So I would definitely say that one. I'm coming from Bills Mafia country, right? So
Right,
I'd
yeah.
definitely have to say like Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs.
We thought of that. Yeah. And by
I've
the
never
way,
seen
people
anything
can
like
vote
that.
on Twitter or on our website. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. But I agree with those ones that you have, right? I played at Louisville. I'd have to say Louisville, Kentucky, right? I don't think that's ever going to be I don't think that's ever going to be not one of the biggest rivalries in the country. So yeah, for sure.
But it also, as Jason was alluding to, it kind of lets you know just how much the WNBA has been elevated, right?
Yes.
That's now in the national conversation, where a few years ago maybe not so much.
Think about how much the women's game has grown. I mean, even since I played, right, and it wasn't too long ago, it's incredible where our game is and how it's grown. And it's our responsibility as high level programs and elite level programs to continue to help grow our game and do everything that we can to make sure that it continues the trajectory that it's on.
Yeah,
and really, this rivalry,
Pat, go ahead.
This rivalry started back in college too, so
Yeah.
that just shows you how much the women's game in the NCAA level has really been elevated too on a national prominence. So
Absolutely.
yeah, really cool.
Yeah. Well, staying with that theme, Mary McDonald, arguably the best or one of them women's basketball players at Arizona, has a new school, a new team in the WNBA, Indiana. I don't know for how long because it's a hardship contract. Would love to see her play with Caitlin Clark, but that's part of the reason that she's there. Caitlin Clark, is hurt along with a couple of other players. But you've really reached into the former Arizona Wildcat community. I saw some stuff on social media with Kate Reese, and I know Sam Thomas was at your news conference. Have you been able to reconnect with or connect for the first time with some of the former Arizona women's basketball players? And why is that important? What's that been like for you?
It's so important. It's critical. I mean, just they're the bloodline to this program, and they're the ambassadors for this program and the experience you get here at Arizona. And it all comes back to recruiting. You want people to want to come play here, and they were here a lot longer than I was. They've done a lot more for this program than I've done yet. So connecting with them, picking their brains, seeing how their experience was, seeing how we can better quote unquote sell the University of Arizona to these players that we want to get here, to just let them know that, yeah, there's a leadership change, but that doesn't mean you're any less valued here just because it's not the coach that you played for. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that we don't want to build a relationship with you and have you around, because ultimately McHale is home. Ultimately Tucson is home for you guys, and you'll always have a home here regardless of who coached you, right? And I think they really want to feel that, and the alums really want to feel that there's still some connection there. So it's a lot of work, but I really am willing to do it because I think it's so important. And I hope just to continue to be able to connect. A lot of them we've reached out to, and a lot of them have reached out to us, which is a really cool feeling as well.
You've got an athletic director now in Desiree Reed-Francois that's one of the top athletic directors in the country. Forget that she's female in what has traditionally been a male-dominated job. Best advice you've gotten from her: how to coach Arizona basketball or how to be a new mom?
Ooh, definitely. Like, she is, first and foremost, we can't forget that she's a female athletic director, because she's one of 6 in the entire country. So we have to give our kudos and our praise where it's due. That is major boss woman status right there. Okay. And that is literally a big reason why I wanted to work for her, because I got boss woman energy the second that her and I spoke. So I'm so thankful. But she picked me up on the private jet to fly me in for my press conference. And when I tell you, we were on a 2-hour flight, and she was holding my son in her lap for probably an hour and 30 minutes of that 2-hour flight. That's who she is as a person. That's who she is as a parent. She's constantly asking about my family and my son and my wife. And she's just so invested in me being taken care of as a person. She knows she's not going to tell me about coaching. She knows she's not going to tell me about recruiting. She knows she's not going to do any of that stuff. She just wants to make sure I'm good, because when I'm good, I'm going to coach well for her. Right. And so smart. She knows what she's doing. She knows how she's doing it. I've been really blessed and thankful. And she's definitely the reason I'm here. Yeah, she's a remarkable person. She really is. Let's take a 180 here and talk more about X's and O's. Where are you at with your roster? And what kind of team are we going to see take the court this fall at McHale? Yeah, we're done with our roster. We just got one last piece, actually literally 15 minutes before I got on this call. We got the word, so you guys will find that out soon. But we did a tremendous job, if I do say so myself, with the timing of when we got here and what we had to accomplish in such a short period of time. And I think we're going to be as competitive as we possibly can be this year. And I think with what we did, going out and getting some mid-major studs, and then going out and getting Power 5 kids that have contributed at the Power 4 level, we did a fantastic job, all while trying to hire a staff and just figure out left from right. And, it's a tremendous undertaking that I don't think a lot of people understand, but I'm very, very excited with how our roster turned out. And I'll have a lot more clarity here in about 2.5 weeks after a couple practices, and we could retouch base then about how I'm actually feeling. But right now on paper, we feel really good. We feel really confident and feel like we're going to be very competitive.
Interesting. Should we expect a run and gun team, a scrappy team, a hard-nosed defensive team? What type of style of basketball do you think we should expect?
Hard-nosed defensive team. We've been in the top 1 or 2 in every defensive category, every team that I've ever coached, and I don't expect that to change here at Arizona, but not to let that scare people or bore them. Like, oh, we're just going to be watching a defensive team. Like, the reason that we're going to be able to be top 10 in the country in pace played this year is because we guard, right? So if you want a team that plays fast, you better also have a head coach that preaches defense, right? So I'm not just going to sit here and say, yeah, fast, because if you just say you're going to play fast, but you don't have an emphasis on the defensive end of the floor, you're never going to be able to play fast, because it's pretty hard to play fast when you're taking the ball out of the net, because a team is scoring on you every possession, right? So, just like last year at Buffalo, we defended it with the best in the country, and we played top 10 pace in the entire country because of the way we defended. But scrappy, hard-nosed, disciplined, we're going to be very well prepared. That's going to show. Our preparation is going to show. Our discipline is going to show in our execution. We're going to have personality. We're going to have players with some juice and some life and some fan favorites, and we're going to have all of those things, and it's going to be really exciting.
Becky, I need to ask you about the House settlement that the deadline got pushed back again. I think it's now June 27th. It was supposed to be later this week. What is that going to do to you, assuming it gets passed and all the details get ironed out and you got a $20.5 million cap for the whole athletic department? What are your thoughts about what that'll mean for your program and the little piece of the pie that you may get for women's basketball?
Well, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for the market to even out, for the market to level out in some capacity. I'm a fan of it. I think it's needed, because this last recruiting class was completely out of control in terms of the numbers you're hearing and the market value for players. So now it's just a matter of educating the next class. Like, these crazy numbers you heard, like it's educating them. Like that's not the case anymore. The rules are different. It's leveled out completely. So you're hearing about some players getting $500,000. That those days are gone. So don't compare to your friend who was in the class before you that oh, I'm just as good as her. You're not offering me $500,000. Well, no, because we can't anymore, right? So I think it's a good thing. I don't stress about it and think too much about it. I'm glad we just brought up Desiree, because that's her job, is to stress and lose sleep over that. And that is not my job. I am given instructions and told what I have to work with. And it's my job to do the best I can with what I have to work with. And, she understands, right? If you want to win a national championship in football, you have to supply football with the resources necessary to do that, right? If you want to win a national championship in women's basketball, you need to give me what I need to be able to do that. And it's all about recruiting. So she understands and knows that I think the expectations need to meet the resources. And she's very in the know on, like, if I want to win national championships, we've got to be competitive with the national landscape when it comes to revenue sharing and the House settlement. So like I said, that's on her to stress about. I will do my job at the best possible degree that I can do it with what I'm provided.
Yeah. Becky Burke, this opportunity is so well deserved for you. And I know everybody's excited that you're here, and I can't wait for your first practices. And we really wish you the best of luck going forward. It sounds like this is going to be an exciting time. And if you're do anything like you did at the last few schools, it's going to be a great time here at McKale Center. So thank you very much for being a guest here on the Huddle with me and Pat.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, Becky, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yep. That was Becky Burke, Arizona women's basketball head coach. Pat, I think this is a terrific hire. I mean, you just look at and that was kind of the first question that I said to her, to go to all these stops and be successful and to build all these programs. I have so much respect for that. Maybe it's a little personal, just like in our business, how we have to make all the steps up. We
Right.
we can't just start it in at a major situation. But I
Right.
think that's going to really serve her well.
No, I do too. And the mark of a great athletic director is having the ability to have that list already made up of
Right.
the up and coming coaches who, if you need a coach, you can plug that hole in fairly quickly. And Desiree Reed-Francois did it very fast, but I think she did it with due diligence, and she already knew about Becky Burke and knew that this was a situation that Becky Burke could handle. And I love the story about Desiree holding their baby Banks on the plane for the hour and a half of the 2-hour flight. Again, to me, Desiree Reed-Francois wears so many hats, but she never forgets about the mother part, the mother hen part, for making sure everybody's doing okay. But at the same time, nobody is better suited to run an athletic department financially, motivationally than Desiree right now. It's the right time for her as well.
Well, she's 1 for 1 in her hires with Giovanna Maimon, the Arizona women's golf coach, who was the Big 12
That's
coach of the
true.
year. So
That's true. And now Becky and to be fair though, you're going to have to give her a little bit of time. She said, the roster that I've seen is competitive. But that doesn't mean that you can step into the Big 12 and
I'm not expecting a Big 12.
That's it. So you've got to say, okay, let's just give her a little bit of time. It's not as if Adia Barnes, went to the NIT finals the first year. It was several years down the road, and then they made the NCAA national championship game. But that still took a little while.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap it up here with our Huddle Poll question and see if there are any results here. In who you think? So really, it's supposed to be what's the biggest rivalry in sports right now? Not like all time or just in general,
right?
Because you could pick Yankees, Red Sox, and Cowboys and Washington with football. But we wanted to pick like right now, like obviously, Celtics, Lakers back in the day. We're not looking for what's the best historical rivalry. Like right now, what's the biggest rivalry in sports? And so that was our Huddle Poll question. We're going to bring up the results here in just a minute. Let's see. Let's see here. We got a little issue with the results graphic, but I'm told that Clark and Reese 45.5 leads. And I know Arizona State, when I check,
always going to get,
So, but we just put that in just kind of for fun. That's here,
right.
Local.
And I'll take a little bit of responsibility for that. It's we were thinking of a fourth. Then I said, well, U of A ASU is always going to be a big rivalry, and to me that always trumps everything. But I will say that the Caitlin Clark Angel Reese situation right now, I think arguably, but not even that big of an argument. I think it really is right now the most heated rivalry. LeBron Jordan always going to be a heated rival, heated discussion. But many of us believe that the longer LeBron plays, the worse he's really doing for his image. And
I don't think so.
Yeah, well, I mean,
who remembers Jordan with the Wizards?
No, but it's not the. Yeah, you're right. You could make that argument, but LeBron's
I think he's just adding to it by doing this well in his 40s.
I think what hurt him most was this year with playing with his son, and that whole thing really tarnished him for me and for a lot of people. I think so.
Him doing what he's doing at that age is incredible. The way his body looks and how he's performing at that age. I mean, I don't see it that way.
I'm just going along, just trying to stick my finger in the wind and feel which way things are blowing, Jason. And I'm telling you, it's not blowing in the direction of LeBron right now. That's what I'm hearing. So
I think people have fantasy for yesteryear, and
I think there's no question about that. Everybody always has better, more fond memories of things that happened, 2 decades ago than they do that happened 2 weeks ago. Once you step back. And maybe LeBron will be remembered even more favorably in 20 years than he is even now, but we'll see. But for the intensity of things right now and the marquee matchup right now in sports, it's Clark versus Reese.
Yeah. What does Billy Joel say? The good old days were always good, and tomorrow ain't as bad as it seems. So we'll leave on that note with AI coming to take our jobs, Pat.
How do you know I'm not already AI, Jason?
That's right. That's right. All right. All right, Trevor. Hey, this was a great huddle. Thanks so much to our guest, Becky Burke. For Pat Parris, I'm Jason Barr. I'm going on my summer vacay. So we'll be back in a few. As I said, we don't do this every week in the summer, just 40 throughout the year. So we'll see you when you see it. We'll see you when we see you. But thanks everybody for tuning in live and on delay. We appreciate it. This has been the Huddle, KGUN9's weekly streaming sports talk show. See you next time.